What's going on, guys? This is the Red Rogue here, back with another video, this one about the horrific Vision of Stormwind. Between the two of them, Stormwind is generally regarded as being more difficult or just frustrating to deal with in comparison to Orgrimmar, so I figured I would throw together a little video that helps you with a couple tips and tricks that I have that might help you out with farming some more corrupted gear and maybe, I don't know, finally replacing that 415 World Quest ring with rank 3 Twilight Devastation on it that you haven't been able to get a single other rank 3 Twilight Devastation on it after 3 months. Yeah. So, let's begin.
Before we even step into the Vision, it's best to have a couple of the new food items introduced in patch 8.3. Most importantly is the Ghastly Goulash, which gives a well-fed buff that heals you for 2% of your max health every second while in a Vision. This alone is a huge boon to your runs, as it's free healing and you don't have to waste time healing yourself nearly as often. The other food I'd keep on hand are some kebabs, which give 100 sanity back to you if you can sit still and eat them for 10 seconds, which will totally happen and some random void testicle won't come slinking by and slap you in the chiclets while you're in the mage district when you have 1 second left before you get the sanity. Yep, totally won't have that happen. Oh, and it puts the food on a 3-minute cooldown even if you don't get the sanity, so there's that fun little fact too. At the beginning of each Vision in Stormwind, there will be an NPC corpse next to a potion and a note. He is located directly in front of your starting point, in the corner. The color potion that is near him is actually a poison that will lower your sanity when you drink it, so any vials that are the same color as this one should be avoided for the duration of your Vision run. I mentioned a weak aura in a previous video that helps you determine what each potion does, and you can see it in this footage as well. I will leave a link to this weak aura in the description below. The desynchronization madness is honestly the only annoying one in the first area of the Vision, as it alternates between a frustrating slow and a speed increase buff. This alteration occurs after doing a certain number of moves, so if you have any spammable move, you can force it to become the fast version, which allows us sneaky boys to stealth through very quickly. I'm looking at you, rogues and druids. Now I know what you might be thinking, what spammable move do rogues have? Well, if you swing by your class hall from Legion, you can pick up the detection spell, which is a free spammable move that you can use even while in stealth. Now before you leave Cathedral Square, you'll want to double check and see which of the 2 buff NPCs is active. To the right hand side, if this door is open, then there will be an NPC you can kill for a 10% versatility buff. On the left hand side, if this door is open, a small wave of enraged spirits will attack you and give you a 10% haste buff once you finish them off. There will be a second set of buffs available if this door is open in the Dwarven District, and you can get through an infuriatingly annoying minefield, then there will be a 10% damage increase waiting for you. If this door isn't open, then the buff will be a 10% crit chance buff from the Trade District, by killing an elemental made of gold in the bank. Honestly though, if it's the damage buff in the minefield room, and it's Hotfoot week, it's basically not worth it with how diabolically evil Hotfoot is. Sanity loss can be very frustrating in higher mask runs, which is why the Elite Extermination ability available from your Titanic Research Archive is a great quality of life improvement for clearing Visions, as there are quite a few elites throughout the zones. Rares, however, count as elites as well, and there are some hidden in various locations in Stormwind. For instance, in the Old Town section, there is a bartender named Dodd that you can fight after taking out his dancing patrons. There are 2 more rares in the causeways between zones, one of which being Craggle Wobbletop, a gnome surrounded by a variety of robot toys. This one is pretty easy to deal with as long as you can CC the shield robot away from Craggle. He has a long patrol path, so this shouldn't be too hard as long as you have some form of root or snare that lasts long enough for you to take him out. He does have a low chance of dropping a toy, the overly sensitive void spectacles, but 9 times out of 10 you're probably just going to get a half-eaten animal cracker and some overwhelming frustration when the person you run with gets it on their first time killing him and you've done it like a dozen times and still don't have it and they didn't even know that it dropped a toy. Yep. The other rare patrols in the water around this tower in between Cathedral Square and Old Town. The Sewer Beastling is a tameable void stalker that is pretty easy to kill and doesn't require swimming in the water to pull him. All you need is a ranged move or a taunt, and he'll instantly snap to your location if you're up on the walkway, which saves you a lot of time and it's pretty easy sanity. Once again, it seems stealth classes are at an advantage, as there is quite a lot you can do in horrific Visions while stealthed. You can open chests while in stealth, and you can be thrown by Hotfoot without breaking stealth either. This makes movement a lot more forgiving in the narrow corridors of Stormwind, though the annoying pustules on the floor in most areas will take you out of stealth, so you'll have to avoid them if you want to stay a sneaky boy. Oh, and remember those potions that are scattered around? Yep, yeah, you can suck those down while you're in stealth too. Speaking of those potions, the duration of them seems pretty bad at first, right? Only 5 minutes and then you get hit with some stupid movement impairment effect. Well, if you can find multiple of the same color, then the duration becomes much longer. I want to say it increases by 15 minutes for every one you drink if you have the buff active, meaning you can very easily have the 2% healing bonus active for the entirety of your vision run. Or, you can breathe fire and deal like no damage and it'll just randomly proc as you're stealthing through a pack of mobs and it'll pull them for you. That's always fun. While I'm not an expert on every class, I do know some defensives that are exceptionally useful in cheesing mechanics, and this is equally true in visions. Cloak of Shadows probably holds the record for cheesiest defensive, as there doesn't seem like there's much it can't do. Virtually every targetable move that vision mobs have can be cloaked, such as Chains of Servitude, Polymorph, Touch of the Abyss, Entropic Missiles, and more. It can even be used to break through the split personality madness that can leave you stuck in some really bad situations. In my experiments though, I have found that the Death Knight's anti-magic shell ability can also do this. I'm pretty confident total immunities like Divine Shield and Netherwalk can do this as well. Honestly, other than Hotfoot, Split Personality is probably my least favorite madness, especially for Stormwind. The atrocious overlap of Haunting Shadows and Split Personality is enough to drive me mad. Ha, get it? It's madness, and sanity, and visions, and yeah, I deserve that one. Anyways, while you can't have Cloak or Anti-Magic Shell available for every terrible overlap, some classes do have a slightly different way to deal with it. Any leaping movement, such as Grappling Hook or Heroic Leap, will trigger the Disorient from Split Personality. However, it still lets you finish the change in position, which is generally safer than just sitting and waiting for Haunting Shadows to go off and really screw your day up, because you just know it's going to go off as soon as a ton of moves are about to hit you. Mages have a distinct advantage with this overlap actually, as Shimmer allows you to move away without triggering anything at all, as does Shadow Step for Assassination and Subtlety, as long as you have something in range to step to. I nearly forgot to mention the odd crystals scattered throughout the vision. These tiny glowing obelisks are scattered throughout all of the zones, and the more you collect, the more mementos you'll receive when you turn them into Zar Hall, an ethereal located in this building in the Cathedral Square of Stormwind. Since the crystals are scattered in all of the zones, you'll only want to turn them in when you've come back to deal with Illyria. The abilities she gains can also be immuned, just like the other times they were used throughout the vision. The only one that you can't stop the effect from is the Void Eruption, which can take off a whopping 200 sanity depending on which masks you're running with.
Well guys, that's all I have for you this time. I hope I gave you a couple tips or tricks or maybe some insight on things you might be able to do with whatever class or spec you're playing on for your next Vision run. Honestly, I only play like 3 or 4 classes on a regular basis, so I don't really know all the ways you can get away with stuff as like a priest or even a shaman. I'm sure there's plenty of ways you can get away with totems and other stuff and fears and all that kind of good stuff to see what you can get around and whatnot. So really, if you have extra coalescing visions, I mean, just go in there, do like a 1-mask run with Mask of the Pain so you can see what dual madnesses are going on and then see what abilities you have or how you can avoid stuff. And they'll make your 5-mask and your 4-mask runs a lot easier if you can kind of learn all the little nuances of what your abilities can actually do or what they're not supposed to do but somehow do for whatever reason. Like when you have Cloak on and anytime they cast an ability, they just don't cast the ability for whatever reason. I don't know. But yeah, I'll have a video up for Orgrimmar also this week. That one's going to be a bit shorter just because I won't have to cover quite as many of the basic little things like the weak aura. I'll probably just throw a mention of it on there and say you should download it because it's useful and whatnot. But other than that, hope you guys liked the video. If there's anything I didn't mention or you want to mention about a different class or spec, feel free to leave it in the comments below. And I guess that's it. This is the Red Rogue. I'll see you guys around.
Damn it, I totally forgot to turn those in. Whoosh. Well, learn something new every day, boys.